Hello and welcome to the April episode of my podcast, 10,000 Hours and Counting. I started this podcast with the idea of wanting to encourage those of us on the spiritual path. So I am a spiritual mentor, a healer. I have been walking my own path really since dot. I've been helped to remember that I am a soul having a human experience. And that's been part of my journey to navigate the world as it has been and to help others to navigate their own path. This year, we started with the theme of transformation, which came about in quite a miraculous way. It wasn't necessarily what I was planning, but it happened with Juliana Sloan, and now it's rolling. And I really feel that we're digging into these themes of transformation. It is a number one universal year with numerology. And there's so many things, astrological, there's so many things going on that those of you who are doing your spiritual journey, I'm sure you're reading things and you're aware. But I just want to bring us all together in this space as I'm moving through with my client work and my own human soul dance, bring through some upliftment and inspiration, hopefully, for you at this time, this unprecedented time on planet Earth. I'm Laura Gibbons, and welcome to the space. So, I want to talk today about when we are in the transformation process, and we have been speaking about this. I've been speaking about it probably more on the personal level, but I really want to bring through for everybody listening and flag to you and give you the encouragement of right now, the entirety of Earth, every single human being, the Earth herself is in a transformation flux energy. So, what you need to be aware of is you're doing your own path because as spiritual beings, we are always working and shifting and following energy and changing. And we understand that growth and change are always going to happen. And we're not necessarily trying to stay static. We have that openness, that curiosity. We enjoy the growth edges, the growth plateaus, the growth beauty. But you're also feeling everything else that the collective is feeling. Now, in the last episode, I wanted to talk about disappointment energy. And I would suggest that disappointment, the way I was speaking about it too, is more for someone who is aware and seeking in their own emotional and or spiritual journey because they're willing to sort of name it. And I would say that quite a lot of people who are in more of an unaware state or just going through the motions and not too keen on even delving into their going through the motions and not too keen to delve into their emotional state would be in what I would call the different frequency. So disappointment, dissatisfaction. And dissatisfaction is not quite as deep a level as disappointment in the terms of it can mean that it gives the person friction. They don't like what's going on. They don't enjoy what's happening. They don't necessarily know how to make things better. And they're in a state of possibility to make changes, possibility to make changes, but they don't really know how. And so they can arise into a level of anger almost and frustration. So that energy is out there big time. You will know that. You heard my throat just then. All of us who are doing light work, whether you are offering that as a healer or whether you are a being who does your own spiritual inner work and moves around the world in any kind of other regular non-spiritual job, we are connected to the collective. We are all more connected to each other than ever before. And so you will be feeling them in deeper ways, and you will be doing a lot of processing on behalf of Earth and all of those who cannot necessarily do it themselves. It's part of the contract that quite a lot of us signed up for, and we're just maybe starting to see more of it unfolding now. I would say that, you see, when I tune into the energy and I settle into what's happening for the month, I am very aware that there is that dance I said before, the dance between my human part and my soul part. And every time I feel the frustration coming up, it's that human part, it's the ego mind. And the soul just has such a level of comfort. And it also brings to me that quality of, I've said before about hope. As soon as I tune into soul energy, whether it's on behalf of a client or it's for myself or it's on behalf of something global, it's a counterintuitive. It almost seems crazy to the mind. It just feels right. It feels good. It feels that there is positivity happening, and my soul feels good about seeing some of the chaos upheaval, because the messages I get from soul and from spirit are this upheaval, this uncertainty is necessary for humanity in order to move through into a whole new way of being. All of our systems and everything that we are working through, things that we've relied on within ourselves, things that we rely on in the world, even some basic sorts of things, things in the grocery store you can't get anymore. Everything is in flux because no matter what the human system was, it really hasn't been the most helpful one or the most advanced one in a sense of advanced with benefits for all. It's still been something that has got maybe a control aspect or some fear aspect underneath it because of all the human personalities who built the system. And we're at this time now where people are starting to feel the systems are failing them, and that is bringing up some hopelessness, some disappointment, maybe if you want to go into the deeper levels, or some dissatisfaction where you feel like there's a horde of angry ants running up your legs and you want to stamp them out. So it's giving everybody on earth an opportunity to, I would say, uncleave. I wanted to call this episode Dissolution. I had disappointment last episode. I wanted to talk about dissolution, of uncleaving yourself, removing yourself from any associations that you once felt were your power base. You probably are also being pushed that way by the universe. You might not be making the choice right now to do that, but you might be in this situation where you're looking for solid ground emotionally, spiritually, uh, energetically. You're looking for solid ground, and it does seem hard to find. And the things you used to do maybe aren't accessible. But this is the point of the path where the spiritual realm, as I said before, the soul energy has a lot of good positivity frequency. The soul is saying it's so that for humans, you can go above and beyond what you once knew. And you can start to craft something that is a more meaningful, a world that's filled with more opportunities, more connection, and more authenticity and individuality, which then gives rise to peace and harmony because we're not trying to force people to be certain things, and we're not making judgments on people and how they live. We're moving into more freedom, and we're coming into more of a collective in the highest way where we work together for a greater good. So it's really about being aware. Your transformation journey is so important for you. It's also important for Earth. And you're being doubled down under your own inner transformations, the things that might be breaking down around you, the people you know, and then the entire world. So kudos to you for being in the stew of that as a human soul and wanting to keep taking your journey and doing it in the highest way. But it can be heavy lifting. My human personality really needs, because of working with clients and doing the ancestral that I'm doing and doing the stuff I love to do on behalf of Earth behind the scenes, as so many of us do in our own way. That's quite a big ask. And in a way, I don't think we give ourselves enough credit for all of that. So it's a big ask, but it feels something important to do. But that's where that kindness has to come in. The human personality and the mind sees all the stuff that's going on, or sees the old patterns, or sees what's happening personally for you or in the world, and just thinks this is ridiculous. And it brings up that feeling. If we go to the word of dissolution, it can bring up a sense of hopelessness through the human personality of what's it all for? What's it all about? What's the reason for this? And that's why I'm saying we go with dissolution, because you think about the process of transformation. I'm sure you have read and heard this many times. It's a teaching tool I've been using for years, and it's one I've heard many other teachers use. It's a perfect example of nature, the journey of the caterpillar to the butterfly. And in the middle of that journey is where the caterpillar in its cocoon that it's have to craft for itself just becomes goo. So it's not the caterpillar anymore. It's not quite a butterfly. And it's the goo phase. And if you were to tell the caterpillar that was what was going to happen, I don't know that it would be that keen on giving up its form that it understands. Perhaps it would, because it's a natural being and it's not as hung up on stuff as humans are. But we are in this spiritual, etheric, mental, emotional, material goo right now. And that is the beauty of uncertainty. And I would say it time and again. And when I even talk to my friends about it, I say I am in this mix of working through the human personality and helping it to feel freedom. Because for me, it's always been easier to connect with spirit, with nature, with my own inner energy. And I've had to learn the human parts and how to be the best human that I can be. which is always shifting and changing, and how to work through the personality things, not with a view of spirit is good and material world is bad, not at all. To find the balance, the harmony, and personally the alignment of those two parts, because there is no accident that we are matter and spirit. So I'm saying to people all the time, to myself, at the moment, the friction is, and many of you would know this too, when you tune in on the spiritual realms or you're doing a session or a meditation, can you feel that goodness? Can you feel that extra empowerment? Especially, I think we've had a great lot coming in with April and with Easter, that Christ light consciousness, that overlighting golden energy. There's been a lot of beautiful energy, universal energy available. And so we're all feeling that. And maybe some of you are feeling that futuristic. I can feel that positivity is possible. But then the human mind comes back and it says, what? This heaviness, the fact that these things aren't available, that people in my life, there's been health issues, there's been lost a job and different things like that. Uncertainty is causing the human mind to just want to freak out. But I was thinking about this too after I was doing a session with someone, and I said to them, when you start something new, perhaps it's a new relationship that you really do feel a warmth and an excitement about. It feels like a possibility and you're very eager to be in that. Or if you start a job that is a dream job, genuinely something that you've worked towards and you can, again, feel possibility and it's quite exciting and uplifting, you still are in a phase of not knowing. But when it's something that seems beautiful, a partner, a new partner, a job you really, really want that you feel you can really do work in, people tend to feel a bit more okay about the uncertainty. There's a bit of nervousness, but there's a more open-hearted curiosity to, oh, okay, so this is what's incoming here. But because I feel that the whole picture is valuable to me, I'm willing to explore it. But when it becomes something that's totally unknown, that you don't necessarily know that you like the way things are going on Earth, or you just can't seem to get the traction on what you want, it's harder to feel open-hearted and curious to the unknown. But what I'm suggesting, what I've been finding this month is the more that we lean in to those under the surface, those frequencies of positivity that come when you draw an oracle card, when you connect to spirit, we make room, we give them a landing place to become manifest. We stop fighting it with the what is, what appears to be. And those of us who have had many daily, small, big, huge miracles, small things, you use that to build your tapestry. It's something I spoke about a long time ago, maybe even in one of my mini videos before the podcast was born. But it's that walking your talk. So when you are a spiritual being, when you understand that we are spirit and matter, when you connect with universal consciousness, or you offer Reiki, or you connect with nature and you have shamanic tendencies, or you do meditation, or you teach yoga, any of these things, it's about understanding that when we offer our spiritual energy, we offer it through our human personality. We're this incredible kind of alchemized, like magical potential being to be not one or the other, but both, a beautiful hybrid of that. And I really do believe that we are coming more and more closer to where the gifts and the talents and the skills that so many people have bought and are using and have utilized from times past, spiritual energy is becoming more and more a tool of connection for others and allowing for compassion. I really see a world where people are getting more and more open to this energy. So give yourself the kindness to say, this path is not easy, but my soul chose it, and to lean in as much as you can and almost take that human vision. It's like you were having to guide a very nervous person, perhaps through a walk, or maybe a frightened child. And you would just be so kind because maybe they're reacting really quite loudly and over the top, but you understand that there's a depth of fear and you try to say to them, brush it off, this is nothing, just keep going. Or alternatively, be hard and crack the whip at them in order to get them to stop freaking out is not the best way forward. So it's a lovely learning curve for you to do it for yourself. Just drop into deep kindness. You don't try and force yourself to not have the grumbles or the deep fear. You don't force yourself to be something. You let it arise, but then you go into a state of as though it's ether or it's some mist from the earth. You allow it to arise and you witness the feeling, but then you allow it to go up to the universe and you release it. So you don't hold on to it and calcify it in the body. And please don't get out your tools and start wanting to look into all the details of the feeling. Allow it to come through you, to witness it, and then to rise away. And then in the open space of what was underneath, the difficulty, the fear, what the underneath is always is the truth of love, unconditional universal love, and possibility, potential. I always say to people, I really truly believe that you cannot miss out on things that you are destined to experience and to have in your life. And that will be more of a theme. So if it's a relationship, doesn't mean that one particular person, and if they're gone, perhaps there's never ever a choice for you again. It's about the frequency of the relationship that is right for you. And again, the personalities, we spoke about this before, truthfully, even the difficult people, everyone is dropped there on your path by design, divine design, if you would like to say that. And so it's not for you to miss the challenges, it's not for you to miss the beauty, but you need both of those things as that sandpaper, as that calibration, and the way that we come into alignment, because we don't just come out of spring into perfection. We need to alchemize that human part, the heaviness, the part that wants to worry, bring in the light of spirit, which always brings a sense of positivity. As I said, not excitable, good news, and not that, about a sense of just a peace and a rightness that perhaps seems counterintuitive when you're opening a newspaper, excuse me, opening your laptop to read the news, whatever you're doing. But that's where you need to use your extra sensitivity, your spiritual frequency, and drop below what is being said, what is being shouted, and feel into this frequency of transformation. And what does that mean? And sometimes it is messy. Transformation also has the energy of birthing with it in a way. It's really becoming something other than what was. So it's almost as though you're using what was once there, but it would be unrecognizable in a way of coming through all of the cells and everything that make up a human baby. You're birthing something that hasn't been before. There's going to be a process of uncertainty, and there's going to be a process as that new thing comes through that it's vulnerable. So we're back to the vulnerability again. And we know that humans don't like that. We know that people will do quite a lot in order to hide their vulnerability, and some of that can be quite toxic behavior, but we embrace our vulnerability in the transformation process. We understand that there is no going back, that when you are really starting this way, it's even the same for people who aren't really doing their journey. There's things that are happening now on the energy level and also the material level that mean we won't be going back to the way things were. And if that makes you breathe a sigh of relief, as it does me in many ways, I almost feel like I've been waiting for this time for quite a long time, for the possibility to become more present and more real to those tendril, those etheric feelings, the feels that I feel, that so many of us feel when we tune in. Give yourself this gift to say, I'm so grateful that I have this opportunity, and I really love myself for being strong enough, again, the dance, to witness it. I'd like to bring up an aspect here that's been something that's been coming up and I've spoken about with some friends of mine too, and I would call it a shadow side to spirituality, where as a spiritual being, whether you're a teacher or not, a healer or not, but you believe in spirituality and you walk your talk, you practice what you preach. So when things are difficult, you do all that you can, but you also add the power of prayer. You read the symbols, you surrender to universal wisdom, you do your daily meditation. When things are difficult, we dig in. When things are difficult, we don't give up our spiritual energy, no matter how tempting or frightening or anything the reality seems to be. And we understand that there are many more than one realities. And so we go with the energy of spirit. If you've spent your whole life or the last 20 years or the last five, whatever, in a depth of spiritual energy, and then the first human challenge that arises and you just chuck it all away, you're just doing yourself a disservice. Nobody said it was going to be puppies, sunshine, and rainbows, but there is such beauty in being able to find your solid ground, your landing space within you and within the energy of spirit. So leaning on spirit. There is really nothing more that is strongest, most potent, powerful, and helpfully supportive than being able to find a point within you that may be your daily practice, that may be about the breath of your qigong, that may be about the daily meditation or walk out to your favorite tree outside. There is really nothing stronger than you being able to find that solid ground, one thing, one practice, one connection to yourself, your heart, your soul, your spiritual guides that can take you through uncertainty. Simplicity is a key there. And I will return to the simplicity, but I want to get back to what I was saying about the shadow side of spirituality, where some people see all the rainbows, all the sunshine, all the beauty of it that comes through. And perhaps you have had family members or friends or work colleagues who know that you are perhaps a teacher or someone who does spiritual prayer, practice, whatever you want to say. You're a seeker who would criticize you if you had a human moment. If you wanted to say, I'm really frightened about this particular bill that has come in, I'm really concerned, I've lost this job, I'm having trouble in my relationships, that there's a shadow side that says, well, if that's so, then you're failing as a spiritual being. You can't help others, you can't help Earth. You are no good. You are not good enough, and you have failed in your journey and your purpose. And I've seen this play out in different groups, sometimes overtly or actually, quite strongly. And it can also happen, as I say, in friendships or in families, where somebody will want to take you down if they can see your human part and they're not able to allow for the two. So I would just caution you or just give you the awareness of like love and encouragement from my heart that if you have found recently that someone is wanting you to be a certain way. You're a spiritual being, but you shouldn't eat meat. You're a spiritual being, but you shouldn't have that fear. Then we're just diluting the power and we're missing the point of the alchemization and the coming together of spirit and matter. So give yourself kindness if that has happened and really be open to finding the people, even if it's one person, if it's no one you can find at the moment, have it be universe, but keep your heart open to finding those people who will take you as you are in all moments, and then be aware of where you share. So if there are people around who you know can be those kind of judgy ones, that's their own problem. Please don't take it on right now. It's sort of like the one more drop of sand that could make the whole tower collapse. Try to disengage from as much negativity as you can and try to find power centers of people who get all of who you are. And mostly for you, give yourself the gift of reminding yourself it is okay because I am human and I am soul. And I am not just a spiritual being and I am not just a human. So I am the two, I am the marriage of both of these things. So please, if you're looking at that, be aware that within everything there is light and there is dark and in spirituality as well. There can be things that are actually harmful if we only focus on one aspect and we try to put ourselves or others into boxes. So find your support, find your daily support. If we're talking about dissolution again, and we're talking about being the goo, it's that possibility and all potentiality. When we let go of the way that certain things have been, we make room for the new. The thing with that is that systems and structures have been in place for so long that even if you haven't liked them, you've learnt how to work within the systems. You had to, and so you have. So now, whether you built the systems and you love them, or whether you've just grudgingly had to accept them and move through them, we're still all brought back into that same place of it's breaking down, and we're all on the same level ground in a certain way of we don't know what the next is. Now, we know that some people have great plans for what they think the next is going to be and what would be great for them. But the truth is, there's a much higher plan than all of that. And we bring that through by being willing to hold space in our hearts, in our minds, in our spiritual practice for the uncertainty and for the opportunity of instead of leaning into saying, what is the point? Say it with an open way of it's like looking up to spirit. What is the point? What is this new information that's coming through? The new people who are working for the environment. There's so many new practices and people and opportunities. People have been waiting for a long time to bring through things that weren't possible because of all the white noise of the official systems and structures. I hope that's helpful. I hope that feels good because April is funny. It's had some of the heaviness still from the rest of this year, and then there's been a lot of lightness coming through because of these transformation frequencies as we move deeper into the year. The number one year, I said again, it's the beginning. So we're at this threshold of this new beginning. And again, bringing back to the birth metaphor, the new beginnings, the new start of a new relationship or a new job, things can be a bit messy. You don't necessarily just slot in all ways. You learn ways to be. So you are utilizing quite a lot of your energy in a good way of casting out, and you're not coming to the situation with everything ready and you just block, just say, here I am, this is me, we're just doing it this way. You lean in and you listen and you have a sort of an energetic dialogue. So whether it's with a partner or the new job, you learn new ways of being. Take this into your heart if that helps you. Really have that practice where you have something every day that connects you to source or to spirit. And there is nothing too small that could connect you to spirit. If it is literally a particular tree driving on your way to work that just makes you give the whole body heart sigh of gratitude, that's enough. Don't overcomplicate things right now. Another thing that I'm seeing is overcomplication of spiritual practices because different people I know are practitioners. They can feel the energy of it's both heaviness and it's also this incredible juicy energy of possibility coming in on all sides and energies. And people are like, I must harness that or I must protect against that. And so they're going into these whole deep practices, maybe. They're deepening their practice, they're spending more time doing things. But if you can't do that, I would still just counsel you, suggest that you look for something simple and powerful. Because in its simplicity, a prayer or an intention that's genuinely from the heart, even just to connect to that tree when you see it on your way to work or in your morning qigong or yoga practice, something that is simple, just in the breath, will really ground in this new way for you personally and for us collectively more than any other complex system could. The complex ones are great and you'll be using them as you move through these months. But every day, if you don't have the time for complexity, what happens? You probably give up. You think that's too much. And then do you do anything at all? Do something small. It's really a time where we look at, again, what can I let go of? And then obviously for me too, it's been a lot of, again, I'm really grateful to be able to have the opportunity to see this incredible path that I have been on. And for many of us too, we see this where you can see those threads, you can see things that you brought through from when you were a very young child and themes. And it's kind of amazing in one way to look at where you've come and how nothing is an accident and how even though there can be, maybe there's a heaviness or there could be the disappointment of the way things are, the pattern that your soul, the path that the soul wanted, you can also see this incredible beauty of the way of the weird places it took you or the situations it took you to and the many faces and the layers of people offering themselves up to help you get it, to get the awareness of what your soul wants. And the soul wants you to feel whatever seems to be the ballast, the heaviness, the pain. The soul wants you to be able to excavate from that the lesson, the teaching. Quite often, the emotional pain or the situation that we just can't seem to clear, no matter how many different jobs there are, or different bosses, or different friendships, that is the lesson that the soul wants us to have because it wants us to know that it's it's possibly that some of the challenges, the things we can't seem to overcome, are things from other aspects of self where we died with that, where we were not able to fulfill the purpose, the passion, the desire, the life was ended. And there was a great sense of perhaps failure, perhaps disappointment, or just what is the point? But then we chose to come back down again and to bring through, even though this one aspect of us will only have this existence, we have access to all of the other many aspects of us, as well as the access to the ancient wisdom teachings that so many of us have worked through in other times and are drawn to now. I would almost want to say that this dissolution that I'm speaking of now here in episode 3 could be step 3 if I'm talking about this transformation path, the way it's been so far this year. But trying to have a stages of transformation and in this time, I think might not be quite as helpful because you could be stepping backwards back to step 1. You could be moving up and having some experience in step 8. It's a very personal journey, and yet we are all in the stew of it. Have compassion for you and have compassion for people around you. I've been lucky enough where I am in the world to find that when I go out and about in the world where I am, people are fine and normal. And when I say that, I mean like friendly and doing their own thing. But I do feel the energy of what is the point, the hopelessness. So I'm not having anyone actually be using hate speech or anything like that or witnessing things. When I do it small, and again, I can have the compassion, but I'm noticing that the compassion arises more when I can feel that stew out there, the uncertainty. So if you're someone who offers healing to clients professionally, I'm sure you also have the feeling to offer it generally to earth. And that is a big task. It's also something that that the spiritual realms really, I want to say rewards, but that's not it, but really pours support upon because it's part of what we're here to do. So even a small kindness that has nothing to do with your spiritual journey, taking someone's trolley from them, I don't know, helping them at the supermarket or having someone pass on a coffee to you, tiny, small, mundane things. Kindness is the balm, really, I would say, for the dissatisfaction, angry people, and kindness is the balm for the disappointment. So focusing on small things of kindness. If you're feeling it's all too much right now, can you take a 5 minutes to go outside and breathe? Can you take 5 minutes to do something just for you that is kind and loving and not scouring, not to say force me through this difficulty or force me to do anything. I'm aware that's not always easy, depending on what's going on around you in your life or the environment in which you're in. But I would suggest to you that the small, easily digestible things, the practices, the hand on the heart, the breath, the number one thing that I do in always is calling in the light, calling it in not just for me, but for others, again, with no agenda, but being that hollow bone for spirit, being that shamanic tool where you draw light of the earth, you draw light from the universe, and you just intend to radiate that into a situation is a really powerful thing to do. Some of these things that we on our path would do as a matter of course, well, because we feel guided to. Maybe if you've been doing that for many, many years, even seems so simple that you think, is that enough? But yes, yes, it is. So again, as I said before, uncleaving, possibly not sure that's an actual word, but it feels right. It's what I wrote down in my notes earlier. Continuing to allow yourself to no longer cleave to ways of being, to beliefs, to the subscription you used to read your news from, to some politician's opinion. Just allow yourself to still be in this frame of alchemy and transformation. You don't have to know. You don't have to know who you'll be on the other side or how you'll be or where you'll be or what you'll be doing. But you do need to give yourself the time out. In a way, it's shedding dissolution too. In a way, it's shedding anything that was not going to be of use to come through, or it's shedding heaviness that we don't need for the next stage of our journey, heaviness that was probably really helpful for your growth. It's definitely shedding of identities. As I said before, that shadow thing where someone might try to tell you you're not spiritual enough if you've also got human parts. So it's also shedding things that you have heard and been told by others or you've taken on from the world. It's quite a powerful time, and you might feel a bit like you're almost left with nothing, like you've been blasted in one of those by a fire hose, or when they have to go and work on chemical things in a science lab and they walk through, maybe this is science fiction, they walk through the doorway and it blows down whatever cleaning and hot air and it totally refreshes them, cleans them up. But it seems quite scouring, but that's okay. It's okay because we do want to get to the other side. And I think that you find that when you allow yourself again to question maybe, oh, a belief, or do I need to do that again, or do I need to be in that group? When you question it, you almost open, I say a window in a way, I wouldn't say a gateway, but you open a portal of potential to change, to change that. Questioning is good, questioning and not scouring. So again, I'm going to say curiosity of questioning. Is this right for me? Do I need to be here? What's going on? Who am I in this way? Who am I now that I've been through that? With curiosity, not scouring. So here we are again. It's this transformation. It's so powerful. It's so potent. It is inescapable. All beings are feeling it, and you will notice people's different reactions to that uncertainty. Do your best to bring kindness to those whom you can feel are struggling. But if they're hot, angry, loud people, do your best to stay away from that and not give them any more fuel for their fire. And just know that we are all in it together and we are all connected. And we are healing at this time these power structures, these imbalances of power. And some of these stem way back to certain times of Atlantis, Atlantis being a massive civilization era, really. So many things were able to happen at that time. But if you're the sort of person that can have issues with power, there's a lot going on from that time. And I would just also say to you, anything you're doing, any forecasts you're reading, astrological and or otherwise, again, allow yourself to be aware. Do I need that now or is it too much information? Where is the simplicity? Because literally you could open something spiritual every day and there's a new forecast and there's an energy of Venusian beings. It's so much. So find the one thing in a day or a week that feels nourishing for you. And if that week it's not your tarot reading, find the thing that feels right and just keep navigating one step at a time. Celebrate what seems to be dropping away. Celebrate those things that you are dissolving, whether you are asking to or they are dissolving around you. Just feel into it, be brave and courageous, and say to yourself, okay, I am moving through a process. I am in process. Don't hold on to the way things are now. Don't have to think that the grief you might be feeling now or the irritation or whatever it is, don't think that what you're feeling now has to be how things will be for the rest of time. Dissolving and focusing, the last thing I'll leave you with is just that idea, as I said, calling in the light and working with the breath is very powerful. So if you wanted to imagine that you could breathe light from the center of the universal heart right through all of your, especially the 12 chakras, right through and stellar gateway and soul star and into the body, and then right down into the earth, and then breathing light from the earth right up through you. Something simple that focuses on breath. You might like to breathe and light, breathing light in and out of the body, breathing and intending light in and out of the fields, focusing on something simple to bring peace, and then return to your day or to whatever's going on. And as I said, if the human personality is feeling challenged and burdened, give it some kindness, help it to transform. Don't shame it for feeling that way. Don't let other people shame it. Don't shame you for feeling that way. But know that we are in process, that nothing is settled yet. And there is something glorious. There is something beautiful about saying, what is the point? We don't yet know. And we're making space for these possibilities because quite a lot of possibilities in the divine timing were not able to be accessed because things were so static the way they were. And now this fluidity is really giving opportunity for new to come in. So sometimes in meditation, it's nice to stop and breathe and intend or allow and feel in maybe around your energy field that there's beautiful energy stepping forward, not just spiritual energy, but people who have these new ways and beings, that there's an idea of stepping in and bringing useful, collective, harmonious solutions to problems that we have been struggling with for quite a long time as humans, because we've been using just our human tools and not the tools of spirit as well. So I welcome you to look for these simple things, to find your solid ground, whatever that may be. It's not going to stop things from dissolving and parts of you changing and shifting, but see if you can turn the lens as though it's an exciting new job, an exciting new relationship. Be open and curious to what is changing and be gentle with yourself at this time. So as always, sending you light from my heart with the intention that we are all in this together and that being on the spiritual path, even when you've been doing it for many years, it does require a different way of seeing the success. It does require a different way of honoring who you are and what you're doing in the world. And less maybe now, it'll be harder to get respect for that. But even so, you're not looking for it from others, you're looking for it from you, and you're looking for ways to find meaning and help you to live your life with balanced harmony, power, and passion and excitement for life. So I leave you with that now. If at any time you feel you want to have a look at the energy healings that I offer at the spiritual mentoring, just please jump on the website. But as always, it's the theme. It's going to be once a month here. I won't be surprised if transformation arises again in some shape or form in May. But here we are now working through more layers. Again, all the work I've been doing. Remember that you are doing it for just for you and on behalf of the all. So again, have an understanding of where is my stuff ending and where is the all coming in, and have a respect for that. Don't necessarily judge yourself that it's all you. Quite a lot of the collective stuff is pressing the buttons of our own personal stuff and making it seem perhaps even 10 times stronger than it would be if the collective wasn't in this transformation process. So it's actually a very, great sign in many ways. Under the hammer, it seems, being pressed down to the wire, and yet new life is happening. That's it for now. Have a wonderful end of this month and wishing you many blessings as May travels through. And I will be joining you at the end or towards the end of that month to speak about what has been arising. So love and light for now from 10,000 hours and counting, and goodbye.